Mathematics, paper number MTH 202. It is a second paper of second semester. The title is Theory of Equations. So this is a syllabus of this paper. This course provides fundamental knowledge of theory of equations. Prerequisite, we require standard 11 and 12 mathematics to understand this course. The objective of this course is to study divisibility of numbers and to study roots of polynomial equations. Then relation between roots and coefficient of polynomials of degree less than or equal to 4. Then third objective is roots of cubic equation. We will solve cubic equations using Cardan's method, and we will solve biquadratic equation, that is equation of degree 4, using Descartes method. And we will study how to find roots of a polynomial equation by Newton's method. Learning outcomes. When we complete this course, you can find roots of any equation of degree less than or equal to 4. Theory of equations is slightly useful in various subjects like algebra, linear algebra, calculus, ordinary and partial differential equations. Now chapter 1, divisibility of integers, 12 period. So we will study natural numbers, well ordering principle, statements only, principle of mathematical induction. There are 4 different statements of principle of mathematical induction. We will study one by one, 4 different formats. Then divisibility of integers and theorems on divisibility. Important theorem, division algorithm theorem. That is when we divide one number, one integer by another, what is the relation between divisor and dividend. Then we will find GCD and LCM and Euclidean algorithm to find this GCD, and finally unique factorization theorem. Unit 2, polynomials. Revision of polynomials, Horner's method of synthetic division, existence and uniqueness of GCD of 2 polynomials, polynomial equations, factor theorem, generalized factor theorem for polynomials, fundamental theorem of algebra, statement only, methods to find common roots of polynomial equation, then Descartes' rule of sign, and finally Newton's method of divisors for the integral roots. Chapter 3, theory of equations, part 1. In this chapter, we will see the relation between roots and coefficient of general polynomial equation in one variable, relation between roots and coefficient of quadratic, cubic, biquadratic equations, and symmetric functions of root. Chapter 4, theory of equations, part 2, transformations of equations. Cardan's method of solving cubic equation, biquadratic equation, Descartes' method of solving biquadratic equations. Let us begin with chapter number 1, divisibility of integers. So capital N means the set of natural numbers. And what are the numbers in this set? 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So this is a set of natural numbers. Now, many times we use these words axiom, theorem, corollary. So let us see what is axiom. Axiom is a statement. Axiom is a statement which needs no proof and which is generally accepted as true. This statement is generally accepted as true and it needs no proof. So such a statement is called axiom. Next, theorem. What is theorem? Theorem is a statement which is proved using axioms and some related definitions. Using axioms and some related definitions required to prove the theorem. What is corollary? Corollary is a statement which can be proved using the theorem. So corollary always, first we study the theorem and then we write corollary. And it is a statement which can be proved using theorem. So these are the definitions for axiom, theorem, and corollary. Next, Peano's axioms. That means a statement which is assumed to be true and it needs no proof. So Peano's axioms for the set of natural numbers n. Peano's axioms for this set n. So first axiom is the natural number form a set such that every number has a successor. So 1 has a successor, 2, 2 has a successor, 3, 3 has a successor, 4, and so on. So every number in the set n has a successor. And there exists at least one number which is not itself a successor. So one number is there, at least one number, and in n there is one number which is not a successor of any number. So in the set n, the number 1 is not a successor of any other number, right? Because the set of natural numbers begins with 1. 1 has a successor, 2, 2 has a successor, 3, 3 has a successor, 4. But 1 is not a successor of any number. So there is one number, at least one number, which is not itself a successor. This is a Peano's axioms for the set of natural number. This is a first axiom. So every number in n has a successor, and there is one number in n which is not a successor of any other number. Now second axiom, second statement about the set of natural numbers which is assumed to be true. So the second axiom is, if a subset S of the set of natural numbers contain an element that is not itself a successor, so it is a subset of the set of natural number. S is a subset of the set of natural numbers, and it contains which element which is not itself a successor. So that means 1 is not a successor of any number, so 1 belongs to S. If 1 belongs to S, and also it contains successor of all its element, and it contains successor of all its element. If K is in S, then K plus 1 is also in S. This is a successor of K. So for all elements, it contains successor of all elements, as well as it contains 1, a number which is not itself a successor of any other number. So if this is a situation, then S and N are equal. Both will be equal. This is a second axiom, because we have written that S contains 1 and it contains successor of every of its element. So 1 belongs to S, its successor. 2 also belongs to S. Now 2 belongs to S, so its successor. 3 belongs to S. 3 belongs to S, so its successor. 4 belongs to S, and in this way we get S equal to N. So this is a second Peano's axiom on the set N, the set of natural number. Now next, well ordering principle. Every non-empty subset S of N has a least member. Least means smallest number. So if you take a subset of N, we can find the smallest number in S. That is, there exists an element L in S which is smaller than all other elements in S. So every non-empty subset S of N has a smallest member or least member. This is a well ordering principle. Every non-empty subset S of N has a least member, smallest number. If S is a subset of N, then S contains least number, smallest number. This is known as well ordering principle. Now we will study principle of finite induction, principle of mathematical induction, or principle of finite induction. Now it is used to prove this statement like this, which contain n. For example, this sum 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n is given by n plus 1 divided by 2. We can prove such a statements using the principle of finite induction or principle of mathematical induction, that this statement is true for all n, for all natural numbers. So this can be proved using the principle of mathematical induction or principle of finite induction. So let Pn be the statements where n is a natural number. This is a statement like this. Now this is a statement of that P of 1 is true. So when we put n equal to 1, left hand side equals right hand side. So it is true for n equal to 1. And P of k implies P of k plus 1. That is, truth of the statement P of k implies the truth of the statement P of k plus 1. K plus 1 is a successor of k. So if it is true for k, then it is also true for its successor k plus 1. So first step, P of n is true, and second, if P of k is true, then P of k plus 1 is also true. If these two steps holds, then Pn is true for all n, natural number n. So let us prove this theorem. Let S denote M. What is M? Natural number. So it is a set of natural numbers, subset of natural numbers, because it contains natural numbers. Which natural numbers? For which the statement P is true for M. For these natural numbers M, the statement P M is true. P of M is true, or P of N is true for N equal to N. So all those natural numbers for which statement is true. the set of those natural numbers for which given statement Pn is true. So we collect all those natural numbers for which the given statement is true in the set S. Now to prove S is equal to n, that is S equal to n means S contains all natural numbers, but S contains which natural number for which statement Pn is true. So that means Pn is true for all natural number. So prove that S is equal to n, that is Pn is true for all natural number. How to prove? Now given that first condition P of 1 is true, P of 1 is true, so 1 is an element of S, 1 is an element of S because P of 1 is true. And what is second condition? P of k implies that P of k plus 1, that is if the statement is true for k, then it is also true for its successor k plus 1. So P of k implies P of k plus 1, that is if P of k is true means k belongs to S. If k belongs to S, then k plus 1 also belongs to S, that is P of k plus 1 is true, that means k plus 1 belongs to S. So if k belongs to S, then its successor also belongs to S. That is every element in S has a successor. So what is Peano's second axiom? If a subset S of a natural number contains an element that is not itself a successor, so 1 is not a successor of any number in the set of natural number, 1 is not a successor of any number. So here 1 belongs to S, in this statement 1 belongs to S, and also it contains successor of all its element, then S and N are equal. So here it S contains successor of all its elements. If P of k is true, then P of k plus 1 is also true. That is, if k belongs to S, then its successor also belongs to S. So S contains successor of all its elements. So by Peano's axiom 2, S and N are equal. S and N are equal means S contains all natural number, that is the statement Pn is true for all natural. So this is called the first principle of finite induction. Pn is a statement containing n such that there are two conditions, P of 1 is true and P of k implies P of k plus 1, that is whenever P of k is true, P of k plus 1 is also true. So if these two conditions satisfied, then Pn is true for all n. This is a principle of finite induction or principle of mathematical induction. All right. First we see generalized form of first principle of mathematical induction. So this is the first principle of mathematical induction in which P of 1 is true, and if it is true for k, then it is also true for its successor. These are the two conditions in the first principle of finite induction. Now what is a generalized form of first principle? Let Pn be the statement containing the natural number n such that P of k is true for some fixed natural number. Now instead of P of 1 is true, what we are writing that P of k is true. That is first form. This first form is a case when k is 1, that is P of 1 is true in the first form. Now in the generalized form, P of k is true for some fixed natural number. This is a first condition. So k equal to 1, that is P of 1 is true, is a special case giving first principle of mathematical induction. So in this statement, if we write k equal to 1, then we get first principle of mathematical induction. And second is same. P of m, if P of m implies P of m plus 1, that is if the statement P of n is true for m, then it is also true for next integer m plus 1. What are the values of m? M is greater than or equal to k, because first number for which it is true is k. So select the number m which are greater than or equal to k. So for these numbers, this condition hold, that is, if the statement is true for m, then it is also true for its successor m plus 1. So if this is a situation, so first condition, that Pn is true for some fixed integer k, and second condition, if it is true for m, then it is also true for next integer m plus 1. If these two conditions satisfied, then Pn is true for all natural number. This is called a generalized form of first principle of mathematical induction. So we do not need P of 1 here, which is a special case when k is 1. First condition, P of k is true for some fixed integer, and after k, P of m implies P of m plus 1. That is, if P of m is 2, then it is also true for next integer m plus 1. If these two condition holds, then Pn is true for all in the natural number. So this is a generalized form of first principle. Now second principle of mathematical induction. So Pn is a statement containing n such that P of 1 is true. First condition is same. In the second principle, first condition is same, but there is a change in second. So Pn is true for all the natural numbers less than m. That is, what are the natural numbers less than m? 1, 2, 3, 4 up to m minus 1. So it is true for m minus 1. Then it is also true for the successor of m minus 1, that is P of n is also true. If P of n is true for n less than m, then P of m is also true. So this is a second condition in second principle of mathematical induction. So when these two condition holds, Pn is true for all natural numbers n. So this is a second principle of mathematical induction, in which Pn is true for all natural numbers less than m, then Pm is also true. This is a second condition. First condition is same. Now we write the last form of principle of mathematical induction, generalized form of second principle. So let Pn be the statement containing n natural number such that P of k is true for some fixed natural number. This is the first condition, that the statement is true for P of k, and second statement, if Pn is true for n equal to k to m minus 1, that is, since the first integer for which it is true is k, so if Pn is true for k plus 1 up to m minus 1, then it is also true for its successor of m minus 1, that is next integer. So if P of n is true for k plus 1 up to m minus 1, then using this information, if we can prove that Pn is true for next integer n, so if P of n is also true, then Pn is true for all natural numbers. So first statement, P of k is true, and second is Pn is true for n equal to k to m minus 1. It implies that Pn is true for next integer m also. So if these two conditions hold, then Pn is true for all natural numbers. So these are the four different format of principle of mathematical induction. First principle of mathematical induction, second principle of mathematical induction, generalized form of first principle, and generalized form of second principle of mathematical induction. So these are the different forms, but usually we use first principle of mathematical induction, in which the two conditions are, if the given statement is true for n equal to 1, and truth of the statement P of k implies the truth of the statement P of k plus 1. If the statement is true for k, then using this information, if P of k plus 1 is also true, then Pn is true for all natural numbers. So example, using principle of finite induction, prove that 1 plus 3 plus 5 odd numbers So last is twice n minus 1. Twice n is even. So twice n minus 1, even minus 1 will be odd. So this sum will be n square. Show that 1 plus 3 plus 5 up to twice n minus 1. This sum is exactly n square. So let Pn denote this statement 1 plus 3 plus 5 up to twice n minus 1. This sum equal to n square. Put step 1 of principle of mathematical induction. For n equal to 1, what we get? Here we put n equal to 1. We get 2 into 1 equal to 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So on the left hand side, we get 1. First number will be 1. On the right hand side, if we put n equal to 1, 1 square is 1. So left hand side is 1, right hand side is 1. So P of 1 is 2. Now, second step, if P of n is true, show that P of m plus 1 is also true. So what is P of m? Here we put n equal to m, so we get P of m. What is P of m plus 1? Here we put n equal to m plus 1, so you will get 2 into m plus 1 minus 1, which will be the last term in P of m plus 1. So if P of m is true, that is 1 plus 3 plus 5, twice n minus 1, instead of n we write twice, we replace n by m, so we get twice m minus 1 is equal to m square, that is P of m is true. Now how to show that if P of m is true, then the statement is true for next value also. Next value is m plus 1, that is P of m implies P of m plus 1. So consider, here we write down m plus 1 left hand side. Consider left hand side of this Pn for m equal to n equal to m plus 1. So 1 plus 3 plus 5, 2 times m plus 1 minus 1. So what is the meaning when we say that it is true for m plus 1? We have to show that this sum is equal to m plus 1 square, because instead of n now it is m plus 1, right? So if it is n, the sum is m square. If it is m plus 1, the sum is m plus 1 square. If it is n, the sum is n square. So we will show that this sum is m plus 1 square, and for that we use the information that P of m is true, that is 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus last bracket twice m minus 1 is m square. So we will use this information to prove that the Pn is true for next value. So consider this statement when n is m plus 1. So 1 plus 3 plus 5, last bracket is 2 times m plus 1 minus 1. So when n is m plus 1, so consider this, we will show that it is equal to m plus 1 square. So 1 plus 3 plus 5, simplify this, twice m plus 2 multiply by 2, twice m plus 2 minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1, so we get twice m plus 1. Now what is a previous number? It is, if 5 is there, the previous number is 3. 3 is there, previous number is 1, that is, it is smaller than 2. So subtract 2, twice m plus 1 minus 2. So we get twice m minus 1. This is a previous number of twice m plus 1. We have to subtract 2. So this is a previous number. But what is the sum of 1 plus 3 plus 5 up to twice m minus 1? So we have assumed that P of m is true. So this sum is m square. And rest of the term is twice m plus 1. And this is a square of m plus 1. M plus 1 square is m square plus twice m plus 1. So what we have shown, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 2 into m plus 1 minus 1. This is this statement when n is m plus 1, it is equal to m plus 1 square. So here also we get n equal to m plus 1. So p of m plus 1 is 2. And for that we have used the information that p of m is 2. So this sum is m square. So we have used p of m here. P of m implies p of m plus 1. So p of m plus 1 is 2. Thus p of m implies p of m plus 1. So two conditions we have shown that p of 1 is true and p of m implies p of m plus 1. So by principle of finite induction, Pn is true for all natural numbers. Next example, prove that 3 raised to twice n plus 2 minus twice n minus 9 is divisible by 64. This number is divisible by 64 for all natural numbers. 3 raised to twice n plus 2 minus 8n minus 2. So let Pn denote the following statement that 3 raised to twice n plus 2 minus twice n minus 9 is divisible by 64. So use principle of mathematical induction. What is the situation for n equal to 1? Put n equal to 1 here. We get 2 into 1 equal to 2, 2 plus 2, 4, so 3 raised to 4. Then 8 into 1 is 8 minus 9. 3 raised to 4, that is 3 square into 3 square, 9 into 9, 81. 81 minus 17 is 64, and 64 is divisible by 64. So Pn is 2 for n equal to 1. So for n equal to 1, we get 64 from this expression, and 64 is divisible by 64. So the statement is 2 for n equal to 1. So P of 1 is true. Now suppose that P of n is true. P of n means this 3 raised to twice n plus 2 minus 8n minus 9 is divisible by 64. We require Pm and Pm plus 1. What is Pm? Replace n by m. We get 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9. This is divisible by 64. And what is P of m plus 1? Replace n by n plus 1. We get 3 raised to 2 m plus 1 plus 2 minus 8 into n is m plus 1. We are replacing n by m plus 1. So 8n means 8m plus 1. 3 raised to twice n means twice m plus 1 minus 9. So this is divisible by 64. This is a statement P of m plus 1. This is a statement P of m. So we show that P of m implies P of m plus 1. Suppose that P of m is 2. What is P of m? This 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9 is divisible by 64. So we can write this number which is divisible by 64 by as it is some multiple of 64. So 64 into k. For example, 15. So 5 divides 15. So we can write 15 as 5 into 3. 5 into k, where k is 3. So this number is divisible by 64. So this number will be equal to 64 into k. Now we have to prove that P of m plus 1 is 2. What is P of m plus 1? So here replace n by m plus 1. We get 3 raised to 2 times m plus 1 plus 2. 3 raised to 2 into m plus 1 plus 2 minus 8 into n. So n will be replaced by m plus 1 minus 9. So whatever we get, we have to show that Pm plus 1 is 2. That means this number is divisible by 64. So simplify. This is twice m plus 2 plus 2. Then 8m minus 8m minus 8 minus 9. So this is minus 17. This is minus 8m. We separate this 3 square because we want P of m. What is P of m? This 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9. We want this term 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9. Here we require it. So take 3 square common. So here we have 3 raised to twice m plus 2 Now we add these two numbers, minus 8m, minus 9. These are the additional term. And this, because 3 square is common, so we have 3 square 9, 9 into 8, 72m, minus 72m. We cancel minus 72m with this plus 72m. Now next number is 9 into 9, 81, minus 81. So we will cancel this by adding plus 81. So in this way we have, why this number? Because this is the term in P of m. All right. So 3 square. Now since Pm is true, 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9, it is divisible by 64. So we write 64 into k. This number is divisible by 64 because P of m is true. Now 72 minus 8, 72 minus 8 is 64m. So this is 64m. And 81 minus 17, 64. So 64m plus 64. So since Pm is true, that is given statement is true for n equal to m, that is we have this number 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9 is divisible by 64. This Pm is true, so 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9 is divisible by 64. So this number equal to 64 into k. 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9. So 3 raised to twice m plus 2 minus 8m minus 9. This is the number in Pm. It is divisible by 64. So we get 64k. And 72m minus 8m is 64m. 81 minus 17 is also 64. Take 64 common. So we get k into 3 square plus m plus 1. So this is some number k1. k1 is 3 square k plus m plus 1. So it is a multiple of 64. This number 3 raised to 2 thrice m plus 1 plus 2 minus 8 into m plus 1 minus 9. What is this? It is a given statement for n equal to m. Given statement is this number is divisible by 64. So now we have shown that 3 raised to 2 m plus 1 plus 2 minus 8 m plus 1 minus 9 is divisible by 64. So P of m plus 1 is true. And for that we have used that P of m is true. So P of m is true. In that case, P of m plus 1 is also true. So P of m implies P of m plus 1. So this is a second step in principle of mathematical induction. So thus P of 1 is true and P of m, if the statement is true for m, then it is also true for m plus 1. So by principle of mathematical induction, Pn is true for all n, for all natural numbers.